Well, here we are, 1 John 5:14. Now this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. This is Douglas Allen Frazier with By My Spirit. And let 1 John 5:14, let that be our confidence. Let that be a portion of our faith today. For we know that he hears us. And whatever we ask, we know that he will listen to us. He will take our petitions, in other words, what we have brought up to him, because we've asked him. Because he is our Father in heaven who hears us. And as he listens to us, he brings his answers to us. Even so that we might understand that we have a place upon this earth that is higher than all others. Because we are the sons and daughters of the true and living God. Let me share with you a little bit from Psalm 36. This is my day of reading in Psalms, and I'm reading at Psalm 36, and I want to hit just a couple of portions of exactly what I was reading from 1 John 5:14 and a portion of 1 John 5:15. It says here in verse 5 of Psalm 36, "Your loving kindness, O Lord, extends to the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches to the skies." Try to imagine that for a second, if you can. That the loving kindness of the Lord extends to the heavens. The heavens are where we put our astronauts. The heavens are where the moon and the stars are. That's how far, and even farther, the loving kindness of our God is, and is sustained for each one of us. It says, "Your righteousness is like the mountains of God. Your judgments are like a great deep." In other words, something that is great and deep, we can't understand how far it goes. In fact, it's only been in recent years that oceanographers have seen how deep some of the oceans are upon the earth. Thousands upon thousands of feet deep. Even now, talked about as being in miles deep. Can you understand that God's judgments are even deeper than the deepest oceans? It says here in verse 6 further, "O Lord, you preserve man and beast. How precious is your loving kindness, O God, and the children of men take refuge in the shadow of your wings." He gives us that point of refuge. When you read in Psalm 91 that he wants us to abide with him. Let me turn over there just for a second, just to move out for a second out of Psalm 36. But it says this in Psalm 91:1, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. That should be almost a daily declaration. The Lord whom I trust. The Lord whom I trust. All of my help is in God. In verse 9 of Psalm 36 it says, for with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. You are the fountain of our life. A fountain, when I think about a fountain, I think about a water fountain where the water is coming up above the surface. I see that right now, if you can imagine this, because we have some small ponds or lakes around where we live. And in the middle of many of these small ponds and lakes, there's like a water fountain that comes up, and it serves as a purpose. But the water fountain looks like it's coming from the surface of the water. It's pumping the water up from beneath it, and it's pushing it into the air. So I get this feeling that the depth of God's love is so deep that we can't see it all. But He pushes it up for us to see and for us to enjoy, for us to feel like a fountain. How many of you can remember as a child you had a sprinkler in the backyard? It was attached to a source of water, of course, with a hose, but you turned it on and the water went up into the air and you ran through it with joy and you enjoyed it. Can you imagine that that's what God is talking about? For with you, the you being God, for with God is the fountain of life, and in your light we see light. So let me close out with this, as my dog is barking in the background, that God has a perfect plan for you. It is yours to receive this day and to walk with Him in the joy of the Lord. This is Douglas Frazier signing out with By My Spirit. Come back again. Tell your friends. This message is going around the world. I get the analytics. I've got people listening in Russia, in India, in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, here in the United States, in Germany, in Poland, in France, in the UK. So people are listening, and it's amazing. I will send this out once again. Those of you that are on Messenger, I'll send it out by that way, because that's the easiest way that I can get these messages out to the people. And I know who's listening. I know who's on the other end. So I put it this way, just as Jesus said, I am sharing these words of life and truth for you. So if you have ears to hear what the Lord is saying today. It's for you. It's not for me. We want to seek His face. We want to hear from Him. And we want to move forward with the blessings that He has. For it says in Matthew 7:8, for everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be open. So I say to you today, seek and you will find. Knock and those doors will be opened. That is all according to the Word of God from Genesis through Revelation.